Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tim. This is another Real Ideal Gear review. Today we're going to be looking at a Casio watch, the GD350, a real popular watch among military folks because of its ruggedness. It's a G-Shock. It has all the shock-resistant capability. It's got the water resistance, 200 meters of water resistance, has a great light, all kinds of great features for this watch. That's this guy right here, the GD350. We'll go through the 5 things we typically go through: size, fitment, finish, accuracy, legibility, and light. And then we're going to compare this. We're going to have a throwdown session, episode 3, a throwdown against one of my favorite all-time Casios, which is the BigSky, aka the W736. So we're going to go through both of these. One of the reasons I'm comparing these two, one of the big reasons, is they both have the vibrate alarm. They both have a significant amount of water resistance to them. So I think this is going to be a great throwdown between the two of them. This one is 200 meters of water resistance, 100 meters of water resistance. Light button located here. You've got some great general functions that both of them have. Great displays. So this is going to be a fun throwdown between these two watches. But we're going to go through the 5 things we typically go through first on this GD350. So here comes the review. So overall size, folks, this is a monster. It's a big watch across and up. It is not for the small-wristed folks out there at all. If you have an above medium small to medium on up, this watch is going to be for you. It has plenty of space for those that have a bigger wrist. It has a dual pin buckle system on here. So, I mean, you talk about durability. This is the watch that's going to withstand a lot of abuse, which is why I've seen this with guys that are in the military. I've noticed this one's like, oh yeah, you can't, I have a hard time forgetting that this is the watch that a lot of the guys I know that are in the military have worn. So this G-Shock is popular. And it's also one of the few G-Shocks where you can almost lay the strap flat. Most of them have that built-in, almost integrated strap into the case where it's always curved. You can't lay them flat. This one you can get almost flat, and this is part of the reason why you have these pieces here that help do that, facilitate that, so you're not pinching things. I like it. I love that design about this. So as far as the overall size, it is big. It's tall and it's wide. It's a G-Shock, and this is kind of that classic G-Shock. You're getting into the G-Shock monster mode. I think if there's a monster watch out here, this is going to be one of them. All right, so what about fitment? Well, fitment is kind of the typical Casio fitment. They put 2 holes instead of 1. The distance between the holes is about the same, so I don't see any difference from my perspective and my preference. I think if it fits you and you happen to get a good fit right off the bat, you're lucky. But if not, you may be going back and forth between it being a little bit too snug or maybe a little bit too loose. It does have what I call the ratcheting system. This is not something that Casio calls that at all, but what it does is it helps keep this keeper from sliding around freely on its own. Therefore, the tag end of the strap doesn't stick out so much, and you can really get this thing out there so that it really holds that tag end nice and tight up against the strap itself. So really nice, clean, slick look. For those of you in the military know what I'm talking about with slick. Slick means stuff doesn't catch on other things, okay? If you want a slick plate carrier, you don't put a lot of crap on the front of your plate carrier. You keep it very slick, quote unquote slick, all right? So this has got that kind of slick feel to it right there. And it's got the classic G-Shock strap on here, just classic all-around size and fitment overall. Stainless steel buckle. When you get into G-Shocks, you're going to get into stainless steel buckles because of the durability. Much more durable overall. And yeah, so it looks cool. Black case, stainless steel buckle. I don't get it. Why is it not black? Minor thing. I just got done doing a review on another one. It was the MDC infantry and the infantry field. Same thing, DLC coated case, and then they put a stainless steel buckle on the bottom. It's like, tactically speaking, why do that? So anyway, that's the way it is. That's the way it goes. This is a $70 watch. Typically it's about $100. I just got a really good deal on it. That's why I got it. I'm not a huge fan of the design, but the price was right and went for it. So usually right around $100 for these watches. Not a real expensive G-Shock at all. All right, now what about finish of this watch? Typical Casio finish, but you do have the typical G-Shock finish as well. You've got mineral crystal protectors up here that stick up above the mineral crystal. So as far as sliding action, across any surface, wall, ground, you're less likely to scratch up the mineral crystal on here. A direct impact, you're not going to be able to stop anything from directly contacting the mineral crystal like that. But other than that, it does a good job. Typical resin band, plastic case. You do have actual metal screws in here holding some things together, so that's nice because it's a G-Shock. You're going to get more quality from that perspective here. You've got some retaining screws in that. So to me, I think the overall quality of the finish of this is much better. And for some reason, this display has a much different tint to it than the kind of typical non-G-Shock display. So this is something I noticed when we did the live stream. Johan shared his EDC, and his EDC had a different tint. His one of his Casios had a different tint to it. I think it was the W800, the Gray Man, than I had on my Gray Man. So interesting. I like it. Just a little something different. It does knock the contrast down a little bit, technically speaking, because the lighter the background and the darker the numbers, the greater the contrast. So from that perspective, yeah, I get it. But at the same time, it's different. I like it. So the overall finish is pretty kind of typical Casio stuff, nothing earth-shattering. Accuracy on this watch is excellent. It's quartz. What are you going to? You're going to get great accuracy. It's not atomic timekeeping, so that's something that you just don't have. And it's also not tough solar. It's a 10-year. No, it's like a 3-year battery, I think. 3-year battery on this one. So yeah, you're going to have to change the battery out every so often, but it's certainly as tough as nails. All right. So accuracy is good. Legibility and loom. Legibility, I like it. I think the numbers are just fine. The day, I love the day being big too. If there's two things that I really want to have big on a display, it's the time and the day. Date would be probably a close third, and maybe you could switch that back and forth between the day of the week. But the date itself, I think, is another one that does a really good job. Now, these indicator bars at the top, I get emails and messages back. Hey, that's kind of retro. That's kind of cool. I like it. I think it's a waste of space. Like, who cares? That indicator is right here. There's your indicator. It's called a second window, right? That's where the seconds are. So to me, it's just redundant repetitiveness, and I just don't understand why you want to have something redundantly repetitive. Now the status wheel here, okay, kind of get that. I'd rather have that status wheel take up space like this over here, and that's what the BigSky does. So if you look at the bottom of the BigSky, you have the status bar down here, and you have little LE or LCD tabs or marks above those indicators down there to tell you what mode you're in. So to me, this is the better way of doing it. You can see that indicator going across the bottom. Okay. That's the better way to do it. It takes up a lot less space. Yeah, I got back to time. Good. Than something like this. I just don't get it. That whole top section could be, enabling some more information on the window here. Like maybe a battery level indicator. Where you're at in the battery. If you're using this for the military or for like law enforcement, I was in law enforcement for a while. I want to know when this thing is about to crap out on me. Okay, so I'd rather have a battery indicator than a status indicator or some various form of a seconds indicator, which is actually right there. You talk about, okay, I've already said it. All right, so overall legibility, I like it. The light is awesome. We're going to go through the modes here real quick, but this is a great light. Okay, and I got the studio lights on here. So this is a bright light. Lights up everything you need to see, which is the time, the day, and the date, right? None of that crap at the top. I'm not interested in that. I don't really care. I'm looking at the time. Okay. All right. Now, what about the modes? Let's go through the modes real quick. All right. First mode is your world time. Straight up, enter the city in and adjust the time for you. Great. Alarm. You have 5 alarms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you have the signal. You can turn the hourly signal on and off right here. All right. But you can also turn the alarm. Let's go here. Where is it? This up here. Here we go. You can have the alarm go off once and then it's done. Or that can go off daily. And that's applied to the 5 alarms. I think that's slick. I like that a lot. Okay. All right. I don't want to have that on. All right. There we go. Stopwatch, typical stopwatch, start, stop, lap. We get it. Timer mode. I have this set up for 10 seconds, but this timer mode, We go back to the main screen here. This is the home screen. This is your timer button. If I hit this button, you'll notice above the time, you'll see the timer is activated and it's counting down. Okay, and if I go back to the timer, you'll see that it's working. I can hit stop. I can reset it. Okay, but I have to go back to the timer screen in order to play with the start, stop, reset. Okay, I can't do it from the home screen. So I go back to the home screen. There it is. All right. Now you have a couple of options for notifications. You have a vibrate alert or you have the flash and audible alert. It's right now set up for vibrate alert. So we'll start the timer again so that for the alarm and then also for the timer, those indicators. And I don't know if it's the hourly chime or not. I'll put that in the video down here below if the hourly chime is included. But I know that the alarm and timer are not. It's the same thing on the BigSky. So we'll start that. So you can set this up to go between the vibrate alert or the flash and audio alert. And I'll put this by the microphone here so you can hear it. Okay, and that goes off for 10 seconds. And if you hit the button, it'll turn it off. Now, how do you go back and turn that into a flash audio alert? So we're going to go in here and we're going to adjust. And then we're going to go through a bunch of the time settings. All right. And this is the mute. So this, every time I hit a button, I get a little beep. All right. A Roger beep. If I change that, let's see this one. There we go. If I change it to mute, look at the status wheel up above, and you'll see that turn on and off. That just lets me know that the Roger beeps are turned off. So tactically speaking, you know what the issue if your watch is not beeping, that you've muted it or you got a problem with it, right? I'll leave it on. I'm not in a tactical situation right now. Lawn mowing is not a tactical situation. This is your light adjustment, 1, 3, and 5. You have 5 seconds you can leave it on for as well. Here's the vibrate alert. So if I go between vibrate alert and flash, those are the two. All right. So there's the flash. We'll leave it there. We'll go back, run the timer. All right. And you'll notice that the vibrate alert on the status wheel has been turned off. All right. Which means the flash and audio is turned on. Okay. Goes off for 10 seconds. There you go. So those are some of the basic functions here. I'm not going to get into the alarm functions and the, what else is there? There was one other one. I'm not going to get into all the modes here. Those are kind of the big ones, I think, that really help. And when it comes down to our throwdown between these two, we're going to see some really, really cool similarities between these watches and also some differences as well. All right. So I'm going to turn this back to, because I don't want the alarm. Whoops. I don't have to do that. I don't want the alarm to flash and beep. I prefer... So you hold this down. Whoops. There we go. I was pressing another button at the same time. I prefer the vibrate alert. I think the vibrate alert is outstanding for a whole bunch of reasons. Like if I'm cooking something, I'd rather have my wrist vibrate than have an alarm go off that I may or may not hear. And the flash part of this, if I'm not looking at my watch and it's light outside, it's not dark, I'm not going to see the flash. So to me, it's all about the vibrate. I think the vibrate alert is way better notification overall anyway. If I ever have a watch that has a vibrate alert on it, I'm turning it on to that because it's a tactile awareness of what's going on. So, all right, between the two, you have what I consider a negative display when the light goes on, and you have a very positive display here. Which one do I prefer? Well, when it comes down to emitted light, tactically speaking, the negative display is going to be a more tactical approach to keeping your light footprint, so to speak, as low as possible, right? I do kind of like this. It's different. It's unique. I prefer it. It is a slight edge to the BigSky. Now, as far as display goes, I think the displays on both of these are very similar. The BigSky is a little bit bigger numbers, but I think the heavier numbers are on the G-Shock. So 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Do you want more bold print or do you want larger print? Totally up to you. I think I'm going to go with larger print because if you have bold print that's small, it just looks like a big ink smudge for a guy who wears reading glasses. If you have taller print or bigger print, I can actually distinguish out better what it's saying, okay? As far as the day of the week and the day and month, date and month, I think they're about the same. Not a big deal. I like the efficient use of space on the BigSky versus the whatever that status bar is at the top of the seconds, which is actually right down here. You don't need that. I'm going to say that again. Every time I bring that up, I'm going to say, hey, folks, it's right there. That's how redundantly repetitive it is. So I just like the efficiency use of space here. As far as the overall functions, you have dual time on the BigSky. You don't have world time that you have on here. Is that a major difference? In my book, it's not a major difference. It's easier to set the time with world time because you just look for the city. Dual time, though, honestly, like you can set the time the way you want it. Okay, and not to say that you're going to set it 5 minutes early on Berlin time. Why would you do that? I don't know. But you could on this one. You can't do that on here. It's the world time is based off of your home time screen plus or minus the UTC code. All right. So for that reason, I think I'm going to give a slight edge. These are, again, slight edges between the two to the BigSky. As far as timer, stopwatch, and alarm, I don't remember. I'm going to go through the alarm here real quick. That's the timer. You can set hour, minutes, and I believe seconds. And then, let's see, stopwatch, same alarm. Let's go through here. I turn that on and off. Okay. So the alarm function on here is just one alarm. Give the major advantage then to the G-Shock GD350. You just have more options there. Yeah, 3, 4, 5 alarms. I kind of treat those more as timers than alarms. The fact that you can run it daily or one time, that's a cool feature. I think that's more important than having 5 alarms. And then, of course, that's the dual time. So overall functions definitely goes to the G-Shock on here. 200 meters of water resistance, 100 meters of water resistance. Overall height of the watch, a little taller on the 3D, or the 350, GD350. So, yeah, it's going to be, you're going to get a little more height off of that watch. Not by much. And when you're talking about a watch that tall, I don't consider that a big deal. So overall dimensions of the watch, this one is a little bit smaller diameter-wise, but they're about the same height, which makes this one the BigSky more chunky. Proportionally speaking, this one looks a little bit better, and I mean a little bit better. I like the strap on this one. I like the fact that you can lay this strap almost completely flat. You can't do that. All right. I'll take the G-Shock right here. I'm sorry, the BigSky. And you see what I'm saying? Like it goes to here and you can't stretch it out any further, right? But when you take the G-Shock, this GD350, you can almost lay that sucker flat. Okay? Way, way better. Way more easy to put something, like if you have to lay this out for some reason, you can actually do that with this watch. That's one of the things I don't understand about Casio straps. I know this is about shock absorption. I get it. But just a little bit of flex. Like this is a G-Shock. It passed all the shock absorbing tests. Why not take this technology and put it in here? And it might have to do with more moving parts. Okay. That's my guess. All right. But I prefer this strap system over this strap system. I'm not a huge fan of the double buckle. I think this is a wider strap by a little bit. Just more surface area and wrist. So overall, the G-Shock GD350 is going to win this throwdown. And pretty significantly when it comes down to some of the program features in here, the alarm being one of them, automatic light being another one. That's a huge deal. They both have the vibrate alert. This has the flashlight. It flashes. That's nice. I like it. This one has just the vibrate alert or it's the audible alarm. Okay. So you don't have that flash component that goes with it. This one has the 10-year battery. The BigSky has a 10-year battery. This is a 3-year battery, so advantage goes to the BigSky. But overall, I'm going to go with this one. It's twice the cost of this one, but I think $30 more and you get a lot more features out of the GD350. So I'm going with this one. Put your comments down below what you think of this throwdown between these two watches. Are there any other watches that this watch should go up against? Put that down there as well. Check out my realidealgear.com store for all the reviewed watches that I'm selling. I can't keep them all. I keep the ones that I really, really, really want to keep. But some of the other ones, I just can't hang on to them. So you're going to find some good deals at the realidealgear.com store. Check that out. There you go. My name's Tim. This has been another Real Ideal Gear review. We'll catch you guys. All right. So post-splitting wood, cooling down here. What do I think of the GD350 as far as a
work watch. I don't mind the size, actually. It's a little big. I mean, I can feel it's there, but it doesn't impinge on any of my movements, splitting wood, moving stuff around. Like, it's surprisingly mobile. I can't really go back any further this way anyway, so yeah, it's surprisingly pretty good. For a watch that is chunky as this, I don't know. I just think that this watch is, man, that's surprising. I have never had a watch this tall before. And the strap is definitely, you can feel the width of the strap on the wrist, but the rest of this is, I like it. I think it'll work. I think this is a work watch that is not as cumbersome as I would have thought. It's a little cumbersome. I mean, it's a lot to wear, but yeah, I'm okay with it.